Hi, I'm Amy Corr, Chief Brokerage Officer of @Properties Christie's International Real Estate, and you're listening to Core Values, a podcast where we talk about real estate and real life. As someone who's worn many hats, agent, managing broker, coach, executive, and mom, I know the hustle is real. So I'm sitting down with industry leaders and entrepreneurs to uncover the stories, strategies, and values that fuel real success. From being the CEO of your own business to figuring out how to show up for your people, we're covering it all. Today's guest is someone I've known for years. We connected so quickly because of how similar our experiences were growing up. We're both from big, loud, kind of crazy families, and we spent a lot of time laughing about it all. We were so in sync that it didn't take us long to start finishing each other's sentences. His name is Tom Downing, and many of you know him as EVP of Brokerage Services for @Properties Christie's International Real Estate. Before real estate, Tom was a business management consultant for major brands like AT&T and Disney. More recently, he's helped countless agents grow their own brands and scale their business. In this episode, you're going to hear his take on how to get out of your own way, survive this challenging market, and come out of it even stronger. Tom, welcome to Core Values.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
All right, so I'm excited because there is a lot that you're going to be able to share with our listeners today. And I want to talk about your background in business management consulting, but I actually want to just get an even deeper insight into what you've done career-wise altogether. Because I know I always joke with you that it's like you've lived 9 or 10 lives when it comes to your career. So just tell us a little bit about your journey or some of the things that you have done.
Yes, my sister always says I've had more lives than Madonna, but yes, I've done a lot of different things, but everything from dancing at the Super Bowl.
I love it. Dancing at the Super Bowl. How did we get there?
I was in a group called Up With People, which some people might know, and
Yes.
We traveled 2 continents, and I danced for 2 years, and it was a lot of fun. But the one common denominator among all of them has been around customer experience, customer development, customer retention, sales. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing that probably would be the one thing that tracks through all of it, but everything from Pan Am to working with Disney, AT&T, lots of different companies as a consultant, but all of it has been around customer experience and development.
Yeah, and the great thing is, I think from dancing to the Super Bowl, that sounds pretty amazing. But being in the airlines, like my sister worked in the airlines, and she always said that was probably her best experience in really learning how to deal with people because they're at their most vulnerable emotionally or frustrated when it comes to flying, right?
Absolutely. There's a lot of stress behaviors for a lot of flyers, and it's the same thing when we're selling a house. People who tell me when I was selling, if someone mentioned to me, I've done this before, it's not going to be a problem, I know they're going to be the ones that have the biggest problem.
They're going to be the hardest, yeah.
But I would be working with the flight attendants. I did a lot of training with them as well, but they're flying through a steel tube at 300,000 feet,
Yes.
30,000 feet, at 600 miles an hour, and you're adding alcohol and a closed environment. There's a lot of things that take place, and there's a lot of stories that were to be had.
Lots of things that could happen. Yes. Being somebody who's such a scary flyer, I can appreciate that. I feel like it is kind of a very stressful space to be in.
100%. And the part of their job is to really help manage the situation, keep them calm, and deliver a really good service. And it's exactly the same thing in real estate.
Yeah. So on that note then, you've had an amazing career, again, dancing to working in, the aviation field. I know you owned your own consulting firm, which, is a whole different aspect, but owning your own business is important. What made you decide real estate was where you were going to land?
Well, I don't know that it was a massive decision on that process. I think for me, after having had the Turning Point Group, that was the name of my company for, 12, 15 years, and just doing a lot of public speaking, helping a lot of different clients on how they develop their customer experience and how they continue to get business from mostly their current customer base. I just kind of got tired, a little bit. I spent way too many nights in a hotel. I wanted a plant. I just wanted to have a life. And real estate really offers that. You get to use all the sort of the culmination of all the experience that I had, but I was going to be sticking in one place, which for me was the most important part of the whole thing. I had flipped a few houses when I lived in San Francisco, or in Texas and New York. And so it was a passion as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it was one of those things I thought, well, I'm just going to try real estate.
Yeah. How hard could it be?
Yeah, how hard could it be? No idea. The one thing I would say about it that made it exciting, though, was I got to take all these things that I used to say as a consultant and practice and put it into practice for my own business, which was really rewarding, like really putting my money where my mouth was after all those years.
I love it. And you started in Minnesota, but then moved to Chicago, or Chicago
In real estate. Yeah,
real estate.
For real estate,
Okay.
that's correct. Yeah, I was with Edina Realty up in Edina, Minnesota for just about a year, and then came here 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And kind of restarted and found my home again. I'm from here originally, but
yeah. All right, so you just touched on this, but I want to ask, what's one business principle from your consulting days? You said that you kind of used your consulting experience to almost consult yourself as you were getting into the real estate business. What is a business principle that you feel still shapes how you think, or even one that agents can apply to their business?
Consistency is like the most important part of the whole thing. So when I first started, I did do the ninja class, which was really important to me. And a lot of it was just reaffirming what I thought, but taking a lot of the things I was doing sort of in a B2B model, like Disney or some of these larger clients I had, and then applying it in a business to consumer model, which was what we do, obviously, and working with the public. And I think the consistency was the most important thing, just getting up every single day, especially because we're our own boss, we're our own CEO, we're our own board, we're everything. So just having that platform, really thinking about that from a schedule perspective, that I got up every morning at the same time. I worked on my business instead of in my business for the first half hour to an hour of the day. And then before I even got started and started working with clients, I was always networking, getting everything I needed to have happen done. And it was the routine, 7 days a week.
So it's structure, consistency, and kind of having a routine or a calendar, something that you're knowing that you have to do. Because I think that's one of the hardest things. Like when I got
100%.
into the business, I was in, corporate America, and I remember I transitioned into real estate, and it was kind of like, when is somebody going to be checking on me to make sure that I'm where I'm supposed to be? And it took a while for me to realize that's you, Amy. So, you've got to figure it out. No one else is going to do it for you.
100%.
And I agree with you. I think that's one of the things for a lot of people transitioning into this is kind of having that light turn on. I'm CEO of my own business. No one's going to tell me where to show up or what to do.
Right.
Yeah.
It's great. I think At Properties provides a lot of the tools and everything that you need to get there. But ultimately, you have to implement them and make them work.
Yeah. I've always said, none of us can want it more for you than you want it for yourself, right?
Right, for sure.
Yeah. So it's a huge difference. Yeah. So you were a top producing broker with At Properties. I remember it clearly. We talked a lot when you were, before you got into the management side of things, but we're an agent. Before you transitioned to management, you had a great team. What's one habit? I know you talked about consistency, but let's dive into something else. Are there a couple of habits or routines that you feel made a really big impact on your success as an agent? Because I will say that not only did you kind of come into this, I know you took Ninja right away, but you really took off quickly, and I don't know if it was just that there was a non-negotiable for you, that was just, you had no other option, but sometimes it takes agents a while. So I'm really curious what got you to move the needle so quickly in your business.
Well, you hit on one. I didn't have an option. For me, it was just, I had to make this work. So that's a great motivator for one thing. The other thing I would say, there were a couple of things. One is the consistency that I talked about before really was critical to me. So I got up every day. I went into the office every day. I made sure that I really did not mess around on anything else. It's so easy to get distracted and do what you're doing. I just moved back to Chicago. I really wanted to, go out and see it and everything, but I really worked hard. I would say that also I stayed away from trying the next best thing. And I think that's key for everything I've learned. And it's also even when I was managing agents, it's just the same thing. The next best thing isn't the best thing. It's about doing what you do well and then continuing to do it. And you do it so many times that you think, if I do this one more time, I'm going to die. I can't do this anymore. Yeah. That's when it's going to start taking. Yeah. Because it's always it's super easy to think about, okay, what's next? I need to try something new, or I need to do this. And there's lots of programs out there. There's so many distractions to agents, not just with At Properties, but all the other firms out there that are trying to sell to us all the time, and the people that are calling us all the time and cold calling us all the time. Many distractions. But if you find something that you do well, stick with it. That was one. And the other was, in the beginning, I remember hearing from Don Shea, there was something taking place at Expo, and they asked me to speak about some of the success I had as an agent. And it was around the CRM program. And if Don's listening, I still remember this so well.
Don Shea, are you out there?
Yeah, it was so nice because it was nice of him to ask me. But they wanted to talk about how I managed my CRM. My CRM consisted of two people, my brother and his neighbor, because I didn't know anybody here. So my CRM programs were taking them to lunch because that was the entire base. So yes, all these tools are there, but also realize where you are in the process. So flipping the script a little bit, I really had to focus in on how am I going to get customers. So I spent a lot of time in open houses. I did 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. I did them for anybody who would let me. If they weren't having an open house, I would find a house that I really wanted to do and say, I realize you're having an open Sunday. Can I do it Saturday for you?
Oh, wow.
So that was another thing that just really helped build my business. For me, that worked. I met people. I got very good clients from it. I still am friends with some of the people I met during that process. And that was the fastest way for me to grow the business. The other thing is I looked at other agents as being my customers. So I didn't know anybody. So for me, it was really, really good to get started on that. So every Monday I officed at a different office around the system and just showed up, sat at the guest computer, had my cards, and introduced myself to the other agents in other markets. And I got some referrals from that too.
Wow.
So those are free, easy things you can do right when you're getting started. That just was a good way for me to do it. Now, does that work for everyone? Probably not. Not everyone's going to be that extroverted. If you're not, then there's going to be all these other ways you could do it. But just finding whatever works for you, being consistent, and following it through.
I love those. Those are really practical tips. And what I also like about it is, you did grow a tremendous business, but you did start at ground zero.
100%.
Like you said, your CRM had your brother and your mom, your brother and your best
yes,
friend.
Your brother was in there too.
Yeah. But because I do know there's a lot of agents out there that the excuse that we will get from them is that I just don't know enough people. And the reality is that you have to just build your database. And some people get lucky and start with a great one, but it doesn't mean that you can't be successful. So I love that. The other thing that resonates so well with me is when I got into business, it was probably 2000, I was at Properties, and it was 2004. And I remember I paid a dumb like $350 a month for some janky leads, and they were awful. And I was spending, and I remember realizing it was kind of an aha moment for me though, because I was like spending $350 a month, hard earned cash that I didn't need to be giving away. And I was spending all of this energy on people who didn't even know me. And the odds of converting them was so low, but I had to have a real honest conversation with myself to ask, why was I doing it? And it was because I had to get real with being okay talking to my own sphere
100%.
And putting myself out there and asking for the business, or not even asking for the business, but showing my value and just going all in. And I think that's the big thing too sometimes for agents is I feel like it's like a dancing around the reality of what you ultimately have to do, which is get uncomfortable and really believe in yourself in the business. So I appreciate that there's a lot of people who run into like just the next best thing, right? Or just always look, what's the magic pill? There isn't any. That's a sad thing, right?
No, for sure. And it's tempting, right? Because you're by yourself. For the most part, we do everything we can to build community and make sure that we're all looking at each other and supporting each other and doing those things. And I think we're a very collaborative environment. But ultimately, it's our business, and we're competing with everyone to get that business. Yeah. There was an article that just came out, I read in Inman this week, that talked about the fact that the number of people using their agent a repeat time has dropped significantly since COVID. Every year it's dropping further and further. So it was just another reminder that if you do, once you've gotten your base and you're doing all of that, now you've got this group of people. The worst thing I did, and this is the one thing I could have done a lot better, but the worst thing I did was not talk to my own base enough. And I think that is probably the key thing when the market starts getting tough like it is right now, to talk to your people and actually engage them. And there's so many ways to do it that it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm just calling you because I want business. There's so many ways. Talk to your managing broker, talk to us, but there are so many ways that you can make that work.
Yeah.
That's meaningful, feels good. And that's where the business is.
Yeah, and I love that because I also say to a lot of agents, what you have to be afraid of is that if you're not talking to them, you have to be scared that somebody else is, right? Because somebody else is on top of it or isn't afraid to do it. So I love that. So you have mentored in your role as EVP of Brokerage. What is your title? Executive Vice President of the most
Brokerage
important
serv-
things in the world.
Of everything. Of everything.
Executive VP of Brokerage Services.
Yeah.
You ran one of our top offices in Winnetka for a number of years. I don't know who started that office, but I hear it's incredible.
Maybe you.
But you mentored a ton of really solid agents out of that office, but you've been a mentor to many across at Properties, Christie's. What do the most successful agents have in common, would you say?
That's such a good question. I think the thing that I've noticed the most successful agents have is some of the things we've talked about is consistency. They're not chasing rainbows and waterfalls and doing new things all the time. They're actually really digging into their own business. They've created a system, and the system is in place, and they trust it. The most successful agents also, they'll try one or two things, and I try to do this as well, but they try one or two things a year, maybe just to make sure that it's fresh and you bring something in. If it's not working, they know to cut their losses and get rid of it quickly. Same with team members, just really being aware of your business and knowing when and how to modify that.
And I think what they also do is I feel like they take themselves seriously. I know that sounds silly, but I think sometimes agents don't have that strong belief in themselves. But I think as top producers, they believe in themselves, they believe in their value prop, and they didn't all start that way, but I feel like if you look at any of a number that we would interact with, I think we would see that.
Yeah, I do see that too.
Yeah. All right, so what's your best advice for agents facing a slump in sales or struggling to stay motivated right now? And I feel like this is so timely because this market has been really hard for a lot of our agents with lack of inventory and just a lot of the noise too that I think is going on with Clear Cooperation and Zillow and all the changes with NAR. There's a lot for agents. So what advice would you give for someone?
It will change. It will change. And one thing I've really noticed over the last, let's say 5 years that I've been managing is that it's cyclical. It's the same conversations are being had where you think this last deal is the last deal that you're ever going to have. The next deal is going to come as long as you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing that we talk about, thoroughly. So there's nothing to be said there. I think the other thing is don't give in to trying to chase something new. So it kind of comes back to consistency. But when things are tough, it's really tempting to say, I need to throw something at this. I need leads, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. If you've got a system in place, rely on it. The slump is going to be there. It's also going to be gone. Yeah. And then the next conversation you're going to be having within 6 months, and I guarantee it, is I'm so busy I don't know what to do with myself.
Right.
And then in 6 months after that, it's going to be I don't have a single listing. Yeah. So there's that. So just believing in yourself and trusting the system and the systems that you've created for yourself. And the other is, especially if you're a more seasoned agent, this is absolutely the time to start going back and making sure that you have a program for your previous clients.
Yeah.
And I say that a lot because I just think that is probably the biggest thing we miss in general. That's a consistent opportunity that is right there in front of you. These are people that we don't necessarily feel good about going back and talking to them, or especially if we've dropped the ball and we haven't talked to them in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Then we just feels really, really bad. So there's ways to do it. Create a CMA and create it as your, as an annual, survey of your portfolio, and this is what your house is worth. And there's all kinds of ways that you can do something where you're actually giving them something rather than asking, and coming from abundance versus scarcity. And I just think those things really make a difference.
And I like that too, because I think we as agents, do feel really bad if I haven't talked to them in 3 years since they closed because I got so busy. But I always say they got busy too. It's not like they're sitting there by the phone waiting for your call. And sometimes they feel bad that they haven't, if they really liked the experience they had with you, a lot of times they feel bad that they haven't kept up with you either. I think it's our responsibility as the agent, right? Because we want to maintain their business. But when agents have actually done it, they're like, oh my God, it was actually a great conversation. I was so worried about it, and they were so excited to hear from me.
Absolutely.
And they invited me over because they'd done so much work, So I think sometimes we put so much in our heads about what we think is going to happen. It's like, just do it, because they'll probably love hearing from you.
Absolutely. I mean, it's as simple as looking in your CRM and finding out when the anniversary of their sale was.
Yep.
So if you've got lots of transactions at this point in your career, you can go back and say, oh, you know what? This month I had the following people. This one was 1 year. This one was 5 years, 6 years ago. Pick up the phone and say, can you believe it's been 6 years? How's it going?
Yeah.
Super easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're consistently happy to hear from you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that. And that's such good advice because it is a hard time right now. But I also think it's a good moment because I do think we're seeing and are going to continue to see a lot of agents that are going to exit this business because for some, it just is too hard. And I always think that this is the best type of market to be in if you really want to grow because the strong survive and you have to create good habits and you have to be consistent. You actually have to show up every day. You have to believe in yourself. I mean, there's just, when there's an easy market, we saw that during COVID, everybody wants to suddenly become a real estate agent because how hard could it be, right? So I think this is a good time. It's like stick through it. Because to your point, in 6 months, you'll be busier than ever, right?
Well, and when I started, it was around 2015, 2016. That was when it was the opposite. We had way too many homes. You'd look, especially up in Winnetka, you would look up and down the treed streets and there would be a for sale sign every other house. Yeah. And someone would call me to do a listing and I'd have to just think. I remember talking to my managing broker thinking, should I take this one? because
should I take this listing?
Well, because you knew it was going to be there 6 to 9 months and you would have to be talking to them every Monday morning about why their house hasn't sold. How different is it now, right? So it is all cyclical. It will change again. But I do think that the agents, to your previous question about what is a consistent thing that I've seen or what is one of the trends, those that have gone through the 2008, 2009 slump, the 2015, 2016 sort of debacle that took place, what's happening now, always came out stronger and were some of the strongest agents later because they really did learn those good habits during those bad times. Yeah.
So this is a great one. So you competed in an Ironman triathlon recently? Anytime soon?
12 years ago.
Okay, it counts. It counts. Yeah. I did marathons like in my much younger days, so I appreciate that. But do you think there are any parallels between that kind of training, which I know is super rigorous, in building a successful real estate business?
Yes, for sure. I mean, when I decided I wanted to do an Ironman, I would get winded catching a cab. I was not in shape. But I think that with the training and with the ongoing belief that you could do it, and they say there's 5 elements to a triathlon or an Ironman for sure, it's the swimming, it's a 2.5 mile swim or 2.2 maybe.
That's all? 2.2 miles?
The bike is 112 and then it's a marathon.
26.2 miles, yes.
And then the other 2 elements to that sport is nutrition because you just have to learn how your body's going to burn, get through all that and make it work. And the last one is your headset. And if you're not able to get your head in the right spirit to do this so that you can do it, you're never, ever going to make it work. And it's the same thing. I remember when I started as an agent in the Glovio office and I thought, a Rolex is $10 million. If I could get $10 million, I'll get a Rolex. It was like...
same type of
thing?
It
was the same feeling. I thought there's no way I could even do that. I don't even have a single household. And my first year, first full year, I got it. So I sort of feel like as soon as you get into the headset that you can do it, everything else sort of falls in place. But it's the believing that it's going to work is what is the big difference.
That's amazing. And what inspired you to want to do a triathlon in and of itself in the first place?
I'm definitely crazy.
Well,
we all know that. We all got that down. I don't know exactly. I think
was it like a dare or something?
It was kind of a little bit. Some friends, we were all sitting around. I was probably eating chips on a couch. So I could
Did
do
they
that.
say like you'd never be able to do a triathlon?
I think I will.
And you were like, dare me.
Actually, the reason it started was a good girlfriend of mine had a breast cancer scare, and so her goal, if she got through with this, was to do a triathlon. So a whole group of us from Up With People, 40 of our friends, all said we would do it with her.
Okay.
If she would do it. It was down in Kentucky. And so, or I think, yes, it was Kentucky. And it was a little sprint. It was like...
Oh, so it was just a sprint triathlon.
Just a sprint, just a little sprint.
Tried it out. Yeah.
And so we all said we would do it, and we did it. She made it through. She can't even swim. She walked through the water the way. She was the last one out. We all cheered. It was so much fun. And I got hooked. That's what started it.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super impressive because, I don't even think I could imagine doing that. Marathon was good enough for me. That's, wow.
If I can do it, though, I mean, truly, anybody could do it. Yeah. They have a division called the Clydesdale division for us heavy guys. I was in the top 20% for that group.
Oh, my gosh. Don't dare me. I might end up spending all my time running, biking, and swimming, which would be scary. All right. Now I'm ready for the fun part of our conversation. Awesome. This is going to be our rapid fire. You ready? for this?
I am.
All right, you had nothing ahead of time to review, so you don't know what's
nothing up
coming
my
next. So you're going to say red flag or green flag, all right?
Okay.
So I'm going to throw out some hot takes when it comes to running a real estate business, and you're going to tell me if you think it's a red flag or a green flag.
Okay.
Okay? Red bad, green good.
Got it.
Right?
I'm
Okay.
with you.
Taking work calls during a family dinner or a night out.
I'd say that's a red flag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Working on vacation.
You know me. Sometimes there's not a way around that. And so I'm going to say red flag because that's the right answer. I also understand that in this business, that's virtually impossible
Yes.
unless you've really
So
set
you got a
your
green
system
flag
up.
it. Yes, yes. What's in the middle, right?
I don't know. Christmas.
Yeah. Firing a client who's difficult to work with.
Definitely a green flag.
Okay. Blocking off.
Wait, with a little bit of
A caveat?
a little caveat that you've done everything you can to make sure that works.
Okay. So you did everything in your power, and then you're like,
Then I think it's fine. Yeah, then it feels good.
goodbye, green
Yes.
flag, go. Blocking off no work hours on your calendar each day.
Total green flag. I wish
Yeah.
I could do that.
I know. Taking on listings outside your area of expertise.
Red flag, completely.
Yes. It's always great to get a specialist and get a referral fee, right? Or partner with somebody.
It'll just save you so much time and energy, and the amount of time that you spent doing that took you from all the business you could have been doing in your own area.
Or if it is an area that you're interested in, if you get somebody who really knows their stuff, you get to learn, right?
Yep.
Hiring a stylist to curate a real estate wardrobe.
I think it's a green flag as long as you've got the funds to be able to do that.
Don't break the bank
Yeah.
trying to look good. Using a headshot from 20 years ago.
That's a real flag, but I would call it a red flag.
Okay. I love it. All right, and then we've got another fun section that I can't wait. So we've talked business. Now and we've talked a little bit of personal life, but now let's talk your real life. This next round of rapid fire is called Breaking It Downing. So let's learn more about you, Tom Downing. What's your guilty pleasure?
Ice cream.
Okay.
That's easy.
That was a fast response. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Being late for recording videos.
Like you were today?
Yes.
Yes.
I really, really hate being late.
Really?
It's a real problem.
How
Yes.
have you been doing on that?
Today, not so well. But in general, I'm pretty much on time.
We know you love to travel.
Yes.
So what are some of your favorite places you've visited?
Oh, that's a good question. Obviously, I love Colombia. I talk about it all the time. I loved Kenya. That's far.
Kenya. Wow.
Angkor Wat. And Angkor Wat was sort of just that whole area was really beautiful. And I love the United States. Like, there's just so many things here. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is going to sound smarmy. I love Chicago. I love Chicago, and I've been making a commitment that every Sunday I do a touristy thing in my own city.
That's
and
awesome.
It's been awesome. Yeah, this is such a great town.
There's so much that it offers. I feel like when people come here, they're so surprised at how great it is. It's kind of like this secret.
And when you live here, you take it for granted.
Of course.
And then you don't do the touristy things that sometimes we miss out on. There's some really beautiful things in the city.
Well, like I grew up in San Francisco, and people laugh because I've never been to Alcatraz.
Right.
Like that's where all the tourists go the first
I
time
lived
that
in New
they're
York
there.
for 10 years, and I never went to the Empire State Building.
Yeah, right. That's what happens. We always think we're going to have time for it, right? What type of traveler are you? Arrive at the airport 3 hours early or just before boarding?
I used to always be just before boarding, and as I've gotten older, I just don't need the stress. So I like to go there, have a cup of coffee, and just meander onto the plane like a human being.
Totally. I try to be early, but it doesn't always work for me. What's something about you that most people in the industry don't know?
I'm pretty open, more than I should be a lot of times, but that's a question. I'm a closet birder.
A closet burger?
Birder.
Birder.
I've
Birding. I
taken
got
some
it.
I've actually gone on a couple of trips just
look
because
at birds.
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing.
Nobody knows that.
I love that. Well,
I'm deeply in the
everybody
closet
does
about that.
now who's listening to this. I love it. If you weren't in real estate or consulting, what would you be doing right now?
Something was helping people. There's no question. I've had a lot of opportunity to see different careers. These are great questions, by the way. They're completely but if I am doing something that helps somebody else, I am definitely getting something out of it.
Yeah.
Whatever that's at. I'd preferably get paid for it.
Yeah.
but in general, that's stuff that drives me.
Yeah, I love it. who would play you in a movie about your life?
Brad Pitt. I don't know.
I mean, that seems fitting.
Yeah. Totally. That probably Jim Carrey then, if that's the case.
Well, Tom, thank you so much for
this has been
joining
fun.
me. This has been so much fun, and I learned things about you that I didn't even know, which I didn't think was possible. So
Well, thank you very much.
thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. So that's a wrap on this episode of Core Values. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for listening to this episode of Core Values. If you loved the episode, be sure to hit the follow button so you don't miss the next one. You can also connect with me on Instagram and LinkedIn for more insights on all things real estate and real life. And always, as a friendly reminder, you got this.